are going to be responsible to make it happen. And every inch of it has to be owned by someone within the organization. Often it's multiple people that have to own it and get it to happen. Anyway, if you don't have ownership of it, if it's not distributed, if you haven't created the standards in the first place, I heard in some of your essays, and by the way, I have thoroughly enjoyed many of your essays. I think I'm about halfway through them now, and many of you really got it. I was very pleased, gave extra credit. Others of you didn't get it at all. It appears you didn't even bother to read the chapter, figured you already knew, and got as low as 30% on the essay. And everything in between. So anyway, interesting. Okay, you got to understand that these things are not trivial. They don't just happen by themselves. You have to create them. And you have to do it deliberately, and you have to continually improve. Some of you said in your essays that you had to make sure that you were doing things according to the best way, not necessarily the standard way. And my retort to that is, why is there a difference? If you've got a better way, should that not become the standard so that others can use it? If there are different things that should be done under different circumstances, shouldn't that be part of the standard? Under what circumstances do we do it this way? Under what circumstances do we do it that way? Okay. I think that this is pretty much refined gold. Let's take, for example, demonstrate respect. Okay, let me give you where this came from, okay? I spent decades going from project to project team, developing standards, lessons learned relative to what could be done differently. When projects were in the middle of their project, we had people come in and I interviewed them. Everyone from the foreman all the way up through and including the owner's reps and executives. And I asked them, how are things going? What if you could do differently? Would it save time and money? Engineering, procurement, construction. And I collected vast lessons learned, whole systems of lessons learned, and stewarded them for major organizations like Hello Ground and Root, and BP Chemical, and Saudi Aramco. Well, after a while, things began to sort of get repetitious. Okay, I began to see the same things going on, even though the information was made available to teams, they weren't doing it. They weren't using the materials. We have a constructability technology chief, probably one of the best in the world on the planet, that joins a $3 billion team in charge of constructability of the UE1 project up in northern Canada. He uses the information system that he helped develop, identifies $600 million of work, of things could be done differently, to apply constructability principles to that project team, to what's being done. Made several presentations, whereupon they hired me to go up and work with another project team in that area. Well, after that occurred, about 6 months later, he asked to be transferred off the project team. Why? He couldn't get him to do it. They wouldn't do it. Too proud. So sure enough, I'm working on the other project. It's $500 million. And they're 6 months ahead of schedule. They're $50 million under budget by the end of their project. The other project announces they're going to be $500 million over budget. 2 weeks later, they announce they're going to be another $500 million, and it keeps going up. When it finally gets to about $5 billion, Exxon comes in and dismisses the entire project team. Go away, we don't need you anymore, thank you very much. And takes over the project with their own internal people. Project costs continue to escalate. It went from $3 billion to $7 billion by the time they were done. Yeah, there were some legitimate scope changes in that, but those should have been developed on the front end as well. That's the kind of thing that we're in. We're building an excessive contract cost into what we bid because we have been doing it for so long and we can't see a way to do it better. So even our bids are exorbitantly charged. Because we're not getting this kind of stuff. We're not organizing ourselves this way, as a general rule. Okay, so anyway, as I began to, or as I had extracted these lessons learned, I began to find similarities between them, and principles became evident. I went up to the 50,000 foot level and said, okay, you know, what are the big issues here that need to be resolved in order for this stuff to be used well? Okay? Demonstrating respect is one of them. Well, what does that mean to projects? Well, it means genuinely seeking mutual benefit of all stakeholders, righting wrongs quickly and emphatically. Uplifting communications. What are uplifting communications? What does that mean? Yes?
Saying to people that's, I guess, uplifting or good, not like putting them down. And like saying backhanded remarks and stuff like that.
That's right. Exactly. You know, deliberately looking for things you can compliment. And doing those compliments. Okay? Recognizing nobody's perfect, right? But at the same time, each and every effort at improvement needs to be recognized and appreciated. Does that mean we get satisfied? Can we ever get satisfied with how things are going? No. Because the competition will never let us, right? I mean, how good is fabrication of computers going to get? Is there any limit to that? Nobody, they keep coming up with, you know, what the limit might be, but no, they bust through it every time, don't they? Why does our industry languish in the doldrums and continue getting worse by most of the measures? These are the reasons, folks. Look into the mirror when things go poorly. Pass positive credit to those who did the work. Speak of others as though they were present. Keep confidences. Show loyalty. That's what it means to demonstrate respect. Everybody says, it's common knowledge. We all, you know, I mean, diversity, right? We got to show respect. Okay, well, how does that play out on a project site? That's how it does, if it's going to occur. Okay, let's look at transparency. What does that mean? Okay, most of you, not all, but most of you recognized in your essays that you've got to have better transparency than presently exists. People, when they get ownership of a work process, of an outcome, need to make what is happening transparent to those who also own. I mean, just because you're a general foreman, you assign a foreman to go do something, doesn't immediately resolve you of the responsibility for it being done right. Sure enough, you can put the monkey on their back, but that means they've got to keep you informed of what's happening as it happens, so that if there is a problem, you can deal with it before it's over. Somebody got hurt. We didn't meet our date. We made the commitment, we didn't do it. And that relaxes into we don't even make commitments anymore. Well, a bid's a commitment, folks. Right? And a commitment can only be achieved by the breakdown and the interim small commitments being made one after another after another. Okay, so transparency. We got to define up front the principles, the vision, the commitments, the expectations, the accountability. That's what we got to do. And then we have to evaluate that performance against those ideals or principles or expectations. We have to deal with truth. There has to be financial performance and execution progress visible as it happens. And we have to encourage the sharing of work process knowledge. What will you do differently to get things to improve? How do we do something differently so you can be more successful as a subcontractor or a supplier? We ought to get that out on the table and get it resolved and get it built into what we plan to do. Okay, let's look at providing leadership. Everybody believes that leadership is important, right? We don't want to be managed, we want to be led. Okay, do we understand what the difference is? Well, I suggest that this is a pretty good definition right here. You got to have vision. That's what's lacking. In fact, at the executive level in a lot of companies today. In our industry, their vision does not include improving faster than their competitors. They don't have a vision for how that's going to happen. They desperately need one. Because, I mean, one or two jobs down the road is all it takes before you're going to be taken over by someone who does have that vision and knows how to pull the expertise together from inside and outside and go after it. Doesn't take long for a contractor to go belly up when they lack leadership, lack vision. You've got to achieve alignment in your organization around that vision. People got to believe it. If they don't believe your vision, the ones that are best qualified and are also most mobile, they're going to go find someone else that's got a vision to tie their horse to go down the road together, right? You lose your best people. Your labor relations do not succeed without vision and without alignment of people to that vision. It's got to be clear. There's got to be clarity and a sense of urgency. It can't be, oh well, someday we'll, we'll do something different here. That's the leader's job, is to create that sense of urgency. In fact, to extract it out of the market and make it transparent to those who need to make it happen, so that they contribute their vision and you align it with your vision, so that combined together you can in fact improve. These are foundational issues. The recognition, the sharing, the giving of recognition for jobs well done. Okay, that doesn't mean you're satisfied, but it means that you've recognized people have tried. And you've got to give them that recognition in public and in private, and it's got to match. Okay, there's got to be sharing of the results, coaching, provoking. I love the concept of Tai Chi walking in there and saying, you know what, this is a perfectly well done and executing process, and you know what, I'm going to stress it. Worked very well. Now I'm going to take away 10% of the resources, and you've got to figure out how to get it done. So over the next 2 weeks, you figure it out, and then we're speeding this thing up. You're expected to get it done in a shorter period of time. So how are you going to get it done? Well, we don't know. Well, then let's go to the sources. Let's go talk to some of these things. Let's take some classes. Let's go bring in some consultants. But figure it out. Because we're going to create a spiral of improving quality and declining cost. We call the virtuous spiral. There isn't any other industry in the world where you can survive if you haven't got one of those. And it's very active. And you engage your people in understanding what needs to be done differently, building that into a common vision, and getting it to happen. Doesn't happen. If somehow you're surviving without doing that, there's a whole pile of money over there that you're wasting. And that's what's happening in our industry. I experienced that the first time when I set up that precast plant that I mentioned to you. Oh my gosh, I realized we did that for 40% job profit. That means that what we had doing before, we had left that pile of money on the ground and not captured it. Did we still get work? Yeah. Does that mean it could have been improved? Absolutely. Profoundly. And we didn't even realize it. Okay, well, there you go. Lots of meat on that for lots of questions on the exam. Tying that into your experience, go through that thing and pour into it, understand what we're talking about.
The quizzes that we had on Wednesday, do you know what they'll be graded by? Monday, we'll come back? Okay. No, we could use it to stuff. I sent my peer evaluation in earlier today. Yeah, gotcha. I apologize for that. I totally slipped my mind.